They call it Operation Epic Fury, a very powerful name. I came up with it myself, and we have our massive battleships in the Strait of Hormuz because Iran wanted to charge a toll. A total extortion scheme, can you believe it? They wanted to tax our container ships full of high-quality electronics and beautiful syrup for the soda machines.
Your military resolve in the Middle East is deeply inspiring, sir. The radical left wants us to negotiate maritime passage with the Ayatollah, but the working-class families of Ohio demand absolute freedom for global supply chains and cheap carbonated beverages.
Marco Rubio tells me there is slight progress in the peace talks, but I told him I'm in no hurry. I love the chaos, the explosions look beautiful on the news, and the oil companies are sending me giant gift baskets, the biggest baskets you've ever seen. The Senate just voted 50-47 to stop my war powers, a total betrayal by 4 fake Republicans like Bill Cassidy, who just lost his primary in Louisiana because nobody likes him. So now they want to tell a genius commander-in-chief where I can and cannot drop my beautiful missiles.
It is a disgusting display of constitutional overreach by the Uniparty, Mr. President. The Founding Fathers clearly intended for the executive branch to initiate unilateral conflicts without being micromanaged by a broken parliamentarian.
John Fetterman voted with me, a very big guy. Wears the hoodies. I've always said he's a fantastic dresser, but the rest of the Democrats are running around screaming about legal authorization. It's completely un-American. They want Iran to win the golf tournaments. We just created the Anti-Weaponization Fund, $1.776 billion, a very historic number from the revolution, and we're going to take all that taxpayer money and give it to my friends, the beautiful patriots who had their tax returns leaked by the corrupt IRS.
A monumental achievement for legal equity, sir, using federal revenue to directly compensate MAGA influencers and Jan 6 defendants is the ultimate way to drain the deep state bureaucracy.
The Capitol Police are trying to sue to block the fund. Very ungrateful people. They don't understand that my allies suffered terrible emotional distress from being investigated by the FBI. It's a total scam what they did to my beautiful lawyers. I just endorsed Ken Paxton in Texas, a fantastic guy, very tough. He has the corruption indictments, but nobody cares because his lawsuits against the liberals are beautiful. And he's going to absolutely destroy John Cornyn, a very weak incumbent who didn't clap hard enough during my State of the Union.
The voters of Texas crave absolute loyalty, Mr. President. Cornyn's obsession with traditional ethics and Senate decorum is completely out of touch with the modern conservative movement.
Paxton told the rally yesterday Donald Trump endorsed me, and the crowd went wild. They were crying because a Trump endorsement is worth more than gold. It's worth more than the entire oil supply of Houston, which, by the way, is failing under the radical left. BB, I saw the report in the Washington Post. It says America carried the entire burden. We fired all the interceptors, the THAAD, the Patriots, while your forces only had to use a few David slings, which is a very small sling, very weak compared to our massive American military spending.
Donald, your strategic generosity is paramount to our defense, but the interceptor metrics must be understood within the broader context of regional containment against Tehran's proxies.
I love the missiles. They make a beautiful sound when they hit the Iranian drones, but the Pentagon is telling me our warehouses are empty. We have no rockets left for the 4th of July fireworks. It's a total logistics disaster because your generals are hogging all the ammunition. I just signed Executive Order 4404, a very powerful number, putting the heaviest secondary sanctions on Cuba because they are harboring globalist syndicates, and we are putting massive tariffs on any country that sends them oil. Nobody has ever seen a blockade this beautiful.
An incredible deployment of economic leverage, sir, by forcing international conglomerates to choose between the Havana market and the United States banking system. You have effectively starved the Caribbean socialist elite.
The European companies are crying to the Treasury Department. They say, "Oh, sir, we can't buy our rum anymore." And I said, "Buy American whiskey. It's much better. It cures the cough, though I don't drink it myself because my body is a temple, a perfect golden temple." Marco, you went on NBC News and said there are good signs for a peace deal with Iran, but you look very small on the television, the lighting was terrible, and the Ayatollah is playing you like a fiddle because you don't use the art of the deal techniques.
Mr. President, with all due respect, we are establishing a framework for strategic stability in the region to ensure the maritime shipping lanes remain secure under NATO supervision.
NATO is a total ripoff, Marco. They don't pay their bills, they're staying at my hotels and forgetting to leave a tip. And if Iran doesn't sign the contract by Tuesday, I am going to order the military to blast their nuclear facilities into the virtual metaverse. In Beijing, I sat down with Xi and I said, give us the rare earths, the yttrium, the scandium, all the weird rocks you use to make the microchips, and he was shaking. He gave them to us immediately. $17 billion a year, because he knows I will put a 300% tariff on their silk pajamas.
Your dominance over the global critical mineral supply chain is historic, sir. The liberal media claimed China would weaponize their tech embargo, but you literally bullied them into a mining concession.
They have names like neodymium, very strange names. Sounds like a fake language, but our scientists tell me they're very shiny, very valuable, and we're going to use them to gold plate the new presidential helicopters. It's going to look incredible. Did you see what happened in Kentucky? Thomas Massey, a very disloyal congressman, he thought he was safe, but I endorsed Ed Gowring and boom, Massey lost his primary. He got absolutely obliterated. Nobody has ever seen a political execution that fast.
It sends a chilling and necessary message to the rest of the conference, Mr. President. If you question the administration's wartime strategy, your career will be terminated by the primary voters within 48 hours.
He was talking about the budget. Oh, sir, the national debt is too high. And I said, who cares about the debt when we are winning wars and buying Boeing jets? He has zero charisma, a very low energy person. Now he can go back to his farm and eat his organic grass. I typed it right from my beautiful bed. JD, at midnight, I wrote, a whole civilization will die tonight on True Social, the most powerful words ever typed on a screen, and the generals were shaking. They said, sir, please, the stock market is crashing. But I told them it's called high-stakes marketing. Nobody has ever seen foreign policy like it.
An absolute masterclass in digital deterrence, Mr. President. By threatening the total annihilation of an ancient geographic region via social media capital letters, you have completely bypassed the Uniparty's bureaucratic rules of engagement.
The Ayatollah saw the post and he didn't know what to do. He was probably crying because nobody can match my formatting. I use the best fonts, the biggest exclamation points, and the fake news media is calling it irresponsible when it's actually just a beautiful, very peaceful warning. They asked me on the television, sir, would you meet the new supreme leader of Iran? And I said, look, I don't really want to meet him. But if I did, I would be honored, deeply honored, because he's a very powerful guy who just took over after his dad had a very bad accident with our beautiful missiles. So we could sit down, have a Diet Coke, and sign a contract in 5 minutes.
Your diplomatic humility is staggering, sir. Offering to charitably host a radical fundamentalist regime leader for beverages demonstrates that America is willing to accept total surrender with a smile.
The radical left is screaming, oh, you can't say you're honored to meet a dictator, but I am honored to meet everyone. I'm a very polite person, the most polite president in history. But if he doesn't show up with a giant chest of oil money, then boom, the civilization thing happens. It's very simple. A corrupt federal judge in Washington just ordered my beautiful name to be scrubbed off the Kennedy Center by June 12th. Can you believe it? They want to take down the gold letters, very heavy letters, because the Kennedy family is crying that John F. Kennedy is the only one allowed on the building.
It is a disgusting attack on architectural excellence, Mr. President. The Kennedy Center Board unanimously recognized that your contributions to performing arts gala scheduling completely eclipsed anything the mid-century liberals ever accomplished.
I told the staff to delete my name from the email signatures immediately because I obey the law, unlike the Democrats. But I am transferring the whole budget to Congress. Let them pay for the ballet dancers. The building is going to fall apart. The roof will leak. And they'll be begging to put Trump Theater back on the front. Nobody will buy tickets for a JFK-only opera.